Alrighty then. Let me see how all this is working out now. I haven't done any live YouTube. I did some tests earlier, so give me a moment or two. Let me just double check, make sure everything is doing what it's supposed to do. So just bear with me. I posted a link on my Facebook page. Hopefully, people will be able to catch me up there. Let's see if I can search for me here. Let's see if I'm coming up live here. Yep. So if you go to my YouTube channel, which is that. All right. So let me click on the link that I posted. There we go. And there I am. Great. Now, there's going to be a slight delay if you're going to watch me live here on YouTube. So if you're trying to post comments and things like that, you'll see it there. You notice you got the little Zoom thing on there. So I'm still using Zoom right now. I'm not sure if this is going to be the final type of software that I'll be using to do all these things. It's been working for me so far. I've got a new camera now. So I'm trying that out as well too. So it gives you a little bit different angle. It's a little bit wider, so I can move around a little bit more. I still have to find a little bit better mic so I can actually kind of be a little more hands-free as far as that goes. So that's kind of weird because I got the Zoom on my screen, which is what I'm pointing to. Then I've got the camera, which is right where I'm pointing to. Then of course I can see it on another monitor, the YouTube thing. So like I said, this has all been a learning curve for me trying to figure this stuff out. So I appreciate everyone taking the time and the patience. I am recording this, the Zoom feed, and I'll be posting this on Facebook when that's all said and done. So, pardon me 1 second. Sorry. Oh, man. Now, I can't hear the audio I got the speakers turned off and everything, so I don't want any kind of feedback. So right now my Zoom indicator is showing that I'm getting some audio from that, so that sounds pretty good. I can see the YouTube one kind of blinks out on me a little bit with the virtual background. The background I got behind me is kind of, it's work, so I don't really want to necessarily put that up there as my backdrop. So I'm still working on that. For those of you who don't know, one of the cool things that's happened to me recently is that I've been able to go back to work. So that's been yay. So that's been very, very helpful. And I still can't appreciate everyone's help and assistance throughout the days while I was furloughed from work and basically tuning in and watching me do all this stuff. As I mentioned before last week, I'm going to continue doing these Foto Dono lives. And I'm going to keep on doing those until about 2:30. Pardon me 1 second. Is somebody sending me something? No. That's sorry. I heard the text. I thought somebody was trying to text me if they're watching this. So, yeah, the idea is what I'm doing right now is I'm going to be doing these Foto Dono lives about once a week for right now, except for Memorial Weekend. I won't be doing it then. So, but that's Saturday. But every Saturday at 2:30, unless something else comes up, I'll be doing these things here. And I'll be sharing some tips and hints, maybe talk about some equipment and stuff like that, and all sorts of rigmarole and stuff like that. So there'll be some things that I'll be discussing at later dates throughout them. Keep in mind, if you want me to talk about something in specific, like any particular uh, topic you want me to cover or something like that, please leave it in the comments sections. You can leave it in the comments section on the YouTube down below me, or of course you can reach me on Facebook, Instagram, on my Patreon account, and all that other good fun time stuff. Just to let you know, I'm going to start creating video content for my Patreon account subscribers. So that hopefully will be something you guys will be able to enjoy as far as that goes. Right now, I've only got two, and they were essentially there trying to help me through the furlough. And again, thanks, Margaret. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. So right now, I just want to show you. I finally got the postcards in yesterday. So these will be going out to all my Patreon subscribers for saying thank you as far as that goes. Basically, it's of some of my artwork that I've done before. Yeah, I'll turn off the virtual background so you guys can kind of see it. Just a second. Hang on 1 second. Choose virtual background. Let's turn that off for a second. So you can kind of see it right here. So this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I used to do a bunch of this type of artwork, and I've got this all archived as well. Some of it I still have, some of it I've sold, some of it's, and elsewhere and stuff like that. But these are the type of things I'll be doing as my postcards for that type of stuff. If anybody who wants a copy or a digital file of some of my stuff, they can always download it if they want to from my Patreon account as well too, for subscribers to that as well. So that'll be fun. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, there's just so much stuff. Let's see the things that've been happening to me lately. Without getting too down with the personal stuff, I'm still been waiting on the DEO to do some stuff. So I'm still in a holding pattern as far as all that goes. But the good news, like I said, I started back to work, so that was very nice. The other thing too is that just to let you know, as I said before, I in another videos I mentor something that's called or moderate something that's called the low light group, and let me show you that real quick. That's our banner. I'll leave that one up. I like that banner, that virtual background. It's called the low light group. Oop, let me get out of the way here. It's a photo group that I run through MeetUp, Facebook, and a few other things. For those of you who are interested in shooting pictures of things with ostensibly low light. So if you're looking to try to do something like stuff with the Milky Way or other things like that. So yeah, we'll be doing stuff. We meet about, as a rule, about every other month is when we meet in. But again, during this particular public health crisis, we won't be meeting in store or in a location as a giant group as far as that goes. The low light group has over, I think people who have subscribed to the various emails and stuff, over 200 people. So there's been quite a few people who are of interest in all this stuff. I haven't been doing too many of the emails lately. I've just been doing mainly the meetups and then the Facebooks and stuff like that. So that's been going on as well too. So we just had one not too long ago. It was I essentially called it the Blue Hour photo walk. So trying to encourage everybody to go out and enjoy themselves with some of the restrictions that were lifted, and to try to shoot some pictures and in the blue hour, as it were. So yeah, so that was pretty cool. We got some really good results. If you're interested, you go to meetup.com and search for low light photo group, and you'll see some of the results there. I'll show you some of the results here a little bit later on, but I just want to kind of get some of these announcements out of the way so we get down to the nitty gritty. The other thing too that's coming up too, the low light group is going to be doing another photo walk. It's called the shadow photo walk. So if anybody's interested in doing that, again, this is encouraging people to go out in by themselves or with friends, a small group of friends, so they can practice some photography and hopefully get some interesting things. The shadow photo walk, and its basic premise is to basically either the shadow is the main subject or it helps define what the subject is. So you can be of a number of things. Again, I'll show you some examples of that later on. So that's going to be kind of interesting. I also moderate the Bradenton photo group, which is part of my an outreach of my educational services here at Johnson Photo Imaging. So if you guys are interested in that, there's going to be a little photo walk that we're doing. So I'm calling it the Feathered Friend photo walk. You can tell these are really big, big stretch of imaginations for these things. These names, but the idea is again just to get you guys out and share some photos and stuff like that. Also, too, I'm going to be talking about various equipment as well too. We'll be talking about lenses, lights, and things like that. So it's all going to be kind of like a little thing about what we've created, and some things, some tips and tools that you could use to help you enhance those creations later on. So we'll be talking about that. If you guys, again, if you're interested in that stuff, you can go to meetup.com. Once this video is finally done and posted, I'll edit the video and I'll put some of the links down there below as far as that goes. So yeah, so that'll be a lot of fun. I'm double checking. Yep, no, nobody on the Uba Dubas. I try to keep, again, for those who have not seen this before, I try to keep these roughly short, about 30 minutes or so. So I got my clock ticking right there. So I'll try not to go too long as far as that. Let's see what else is coming up. think that's about it right now as far as all the major stuff. Again, you can always go to my website to keep up to date with some of my shenanigans as far as educational services and classes. I do teach privately, as well as do other photo related things as well too. So if you guys are interested, let me know. Again, you can reach me at Fotodono, FOTODONO.com. Oh, by the way, if you are watching on YouTube, please click the like and subscribe button down there. The YouTube says if I get 100 subscribers, I can actually name my YouTube channel Foto Dono. I've passed all the other verification marks, so I could post long videos. Not that I want, not that I do it all the time, but the idea is so I can post some videos and do some things like that. As I said, I'm going to try to create some video content for my Patreon account, and eventually those videos will maybe not all of them, but some of them will probably find its way onto YouTube. I'm going to keep doing these Foto Dono lives. I'm doing another thing too on Mondays at 6:30, 6 o'clock. It's called An Evening with Foto Dono. I'm going to continue that until about mid-June. And after that, then those are going to kind of go away, and I'll be just doing these only at this particular point. I might do some of them in the evenings, like maybe once a month or something like that, but I'm kind of trying to see how it fits in with my current work schedule as far as that goes. Sorry, I keep forgetting. I got my light source pointing it right in front of me. I'm basically I'm borrowing a light source to kind of help me light up my face a little bit better. Otherwise, it's really just dark like that. Yeah. So I'm still working on some of the kinks because I normally I would be broadcasting from home, but I'm broadcasting from work right now. So I'm just trying to work out some other things. All right. Without further ado, I want to talk about some of the things that I've been doing lately, some of the photography as far as that goes. I think last week we were talking about some of my the blue stuff that we shot for the Blue Hour stuff, some of those pictures, but really want to kind of showcase a little bit of something with things that's coming up with the shadow photo walk. So give me a moment. I'm going to share the screen, and I'll keep an eye on the YouTube, make sure it's all coming through there too. So just bear with me. So we're going to go to my desktop. Oops. I thought this was kind of funny watching other YouTubers click on things and move on from there, and I'm realizing that we're all in in the same boat as far as all that goes. All right, we got all that. Okay, great. So just to kind of give you an idea with with the low light group, these are some of the photos we've shot, or I've shot with the group or as part of the group as far as that goes. Different things, different results and stuff like that. So when I was talking about the dealing with shadows and stuff like that, doing the shadow photo walk. So it's dealing with stuff kind of like this. Yes, the light, this is the main subject and stuff like that, but this is also something that's, let me make it, let's see, let's go to like that. There we go. And we need to see this. No, there we go. That's a little bit better. And let's magnify that a little bit more. There we go. So you guys can kind of see it right there. So the idea is what you can do is you can see right there, I'm using the shadows to help define what the subject is. Now, ostensibly, I did try a couple of different exposures. One of the first exposures I did was that I'm doing like a time exposure. So I did it first for about a sixth of a second. And then I went to about 20 seconds, I believe, for this particular one. Let me double check. Was it 20 seconds? 15 seconds, excuse me. So it was about 15 seconds is 1/6 of a second. So yeah, I was doing some of that stuff with this picture right here. This was shot up at at Tampines Lower Park Zoo during their Chinese Lantern Festival, which was really, really cool, a lot of fun. And what happened is that I went there with a few friends with Steve and Faith. Hi guys, if you're watching. The idea is that we were going to try to shoot some pictures of this festival. So what happened is, of course, we got there, a little bit before daylight and walked around, picked out some things that might be kind of cool to shoot. And of course, the park was packed with people, and we were wall to wall people. They were literally, we were like, pre-pandemic type of stuff. We were like this close to people, in either side of us. And I'm a large guy, so that's saying something. So the idea is, we had some of that stuff going on. So what I did was I found a little corner, kind of huddled in the corner, and I was still, and I still have this tripod today. I've called it the world's crappiest tripod. I'll have to show that to you. I keep it in the car as far as it goes, but it's a tripod that's done me proud. It's rusted, nearly falling apart type of thing, and it still works. It still hasn't fallen. It literally hasn't fallen apart, but it's got that appearance of it. So I set this up and I'm doing the shot, and these people are milling about. So I did this at 1/6 of a second. And what you do is if you extend that amount of time, people will disappear from the pictures, which is really cool. Except for this guy right here. This guy stood there for about a couple ticks too long, maybe about 5 seconds or so. So you get to see his little fanny and his legs kind of standing there. Whatever he was looking at, was probably reading that sign that was right there. So yeah, so that was kind of cool and fun to do that. So this is what I was talking about, somewhere where the shadows help define stuff. Similar things like this right here is what I shot with this model. And oh my God. Now I've gone completely blank. Oh, she's going to kill me. So the idea is when I was shooting with her, I basically was projecting a light on top of her. So I get this nice little shadows effect and stuff like that. Of course, I'm projecting other light sources on top of her, but I'm also using my own artwork to project on top of her. So I'm having a little bit of fun with all that stuff. So yeah. So things like that. Let me see. So other things I wanted to talk to you guys about. So show you. Again, something similar like that would not so too weird was something like this when I shot with uh, Kat from Fedora Photos. She agreed to pose for us for one night, and this is one of the photos that came from that night. The lighting was provided for by David Frere, or Uncle Snaff Photography. So he did most of the lighting, brought some red lights and stuff like that, and some other things. But mainly, what he was able to, so you can see what we're doing again. We're using a lot of shadows to help to define the shape and form of Kat. So it's one of those fun little things where I'm hoping that you guys can go out and encourage you to go out and do as far as that goes. So that's what the kind of things I was talking about, is that type of thing. You don't have to go as let's say as avant-garde as this, but but stuff like that. And that's with Miss Topaz Latisse, things of that nature. But this is the kind of stuff I was talking about. If you're interested to do the shadow photo walk, try to have some fun with some of the photo lights and stuff like that. So where you can go out and enjoy, hopefully, not only with your friends and family, but also have some fun with them, taking some photos that might be hopefully of interesting and stuff. But again, the shadows are going to be the predominant source, and they'll basically work with all that lighting as far as that goes. This is the one that I was really the most proud of that I did with Miss Topaz. This is I'm projecting. I got a projector where I'm projecting the Milky Way behind her, and I'm projecting the Milky Way on top of her as well too. She was wearing this delightful little outfit with this little bit of lace right there, which really worked out phenomenal for the whole thing. And I was very, very happy with the results of this thing. It was really, really cool. So anyway. What was I going to say? Let's stop sharing for now. So yes, so that's basically what we've been looking at for as far as that stuff that's coming up from the photo walk. Now, I wanted to share with you too a little bit of some of the things I've been shooting with lately. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second, and it's probably not going to work too well with the virtual screen, so you have to live with the background as it is. Because some people have been asking me what I've been shooting with. What I've been shooting with right now is the Olympus OMD Mark II. I don't know if you can see it from there. Yeah, the OMD EM Mark II. And I'm shooting with their 12-40 2.8 Pro lens. This has been a phenomenal piece of gear. I really recommend it. They've done a bangering job putting stuff together. It's water resistant, so is the lens. I can pretty much take this pretty much almost anywhere. And it does, again, as I said, a bangering job as far as that goes. I've done some really cool work with this particular camera system for the last couple of months. And it's just been, and you've seen some of the results on my Instagram and on my Facebook as far as that goes. I used to be shooting with a Nikon D610, which is also a wonderful camera. It's a full frame system. This is what they call micro four thirds. So the sensor is a little bit smaller than that. But for all the workflow that I do with everything that I do, no one's ever going to notice. And the image quality is just, as far as I'm concerned, is top notch. The lenses are tack sharp, with all their stuff, and it works out really, really well. I've been very, very happy with this particular thing. So I'd be probably looking right now. I only have the one lens, so eventually I'll be getting like the 40 to 150. So I'll be doing some things with that, and I'll be doing a few more other things going forward with macro as well as that too. The other thing too I wanted to go over today a little bit is somebody was asking me about some editing stuff that I was doing not too long ago. Now, if you want to watch some of the previous videos, I did a little bit about the photo merge and stuff like that. So I'm not going to really go too much into that as far as that goes. But I'm also going to talk a little bit about some of my workflow a little bit here. And so if you guys are interested in that, this will be more like the technical mumbo jumbo as far as photography goes. So just bear with me 1 second. I thought I had them turned on, but apparently not. There we go. Yeah, I forgot how slow all this is when I'm running video on here through the webcams and stuff like that. All right. Let's go to this. Nothing like watching the pot boil, paint dry, things like that. Let's see. Hopefully everyone can hear me still. Let's see how it goes. Let's see. What are we doing this now? Oh, there's one person watching. Oh, that's me. One of these days, I'll probably get the hang of all this stuff, It crack me up sometimes. Yeah. All right. So here we go. So, oops. Let's go back to Zoom and share the screen because, you got to be able to see the screen. All right. So let me minimize this, move this out of the way. There we go. La-di-da-di-da-di-da. All right. So let's back up a little bit. Let's see. 5 stars. So to kind of give you an idea. So something like this. This is something that I use quite a bit in some of my Facebook and stuff like that. This is a picture when I was in, when me and my son went to Shenandoah Park, right there in West Virginia. So I thought that was really cool to go out and check this out. This is before I got the Olympus gear. This is with my Nikon 610 with a 70-200 Tamron 2.8, which, by the way, is an awesome, awesome piece of glass too. Oh my God, I love that lens. It was amazing. So I just want to go show you kind of like what it kind of looked like before I did all that. So again, this is kind of like showing you like behind the scenes stuff. So this is what my picture looked like as the final product, right? So you can see that there's been some editing work with it. Now, for me, landscape is there's a lot of people that kind of poo-poo when you start changing things in the landscape because they say, "Oh, it's got to look like what it really is." It did look like what it really is, but except I did embellish the real parts because the human eye, despite all its wonderfulness and its intricacies, it cannot hold a candle to what can be produced electronically. Even when I'm looking at screens of some of the stuff, I can't see all the detail and the color. I think, well, we can. I said, no, and I'm going to show, no, you can. I mean, if you go out at night, your night vision is horrible. We see enough to get by, but that's all we do. That's, so, some of the things that, we're looking at. So here's just kind of give you an idea. So this is the day that I shot this on right here. So this is what it kind of looks like right here. There's a lot of haze in the atmosphere. And this is pretty typical. And this to me is kind of like, when I'm shooting something like this, when I'm thinking about when I'm looking at this particular image, and I know that the day is kind of gray and airy, and that the thing is, there were times when we were driving around the mountain, the sun was out bursting out right. I mean, again, I don't live in the mountains. I haven't, that's not my go-to, but it was kind of cool when we driving around, raining on one side of the mountain, you go around the other side of the mountains. It's nice and sunny. That was kind of really kind of cool to see some of that stuff. But the idea is when I'm trying stuff like this, is that, oops, wrong button. Sorry, guys. Let me get to this real quick. There we go. So when I'm looking at stuff like this right here, I'm looking at this and I'm trying to look at trying to identify some of the things that I want to look at. So for instance, I'm looking at this right here, these hills. I'm looking at the where they're proportioned on there. What's the focus that I want people to look at? Things like that. So, again, initially when I take this picture right here, the sun was actually behind these clouds over here. So, but I couldn't see the sun, right? Because again, the clouds were in the way, but they were lighting behind the clouds. That's what's causing, you can see the shadows coming down this way and stuff like that. You got this nice little blue haze, again, the smoky, not the Smoky Mountains, Blue Hills, right? So basically, this is what it kind of looks like on a gray day. And now the issue is that, I'm losing some of this detail back there. All that detail is just like, gone, So what I did was I basically adjusted some of the color a little bit. And so basically try to bring out some of that extra pop in there and bring out some of that detail. When I'm looking at this versus this, you can see there's a little bit of detail that was, oops. Hang on. Come on. Here we go. So you're looking at some of this detail. See, it's gone in that particular picture right there. Here, it's a little bit more in your face and looks really good. But now, when I pull it up, you can see it's even more so. It's a little bit more defined back there. And that works out really well for me. And considering, I'm on an overlook looking all the way down onto the stuff, it's one of those things that worked out really well. You can see I actually warmed it up quite a bit, but I didn't warm up everything. I kept that stuff back there kind of cool. I did put a little flare back there to kind of highlight the sun, the fact that it was behind there, kind of showcasing where this light was coming from. So the idea is this is what I was kind of working with, just try to work this out. And you still got the haze effect as far as I can see. I'm not going to get rid of it altogether, and it's never going to be 100% sharp from the distance that I was at. But that lens was just phenomenal. But they was able to capture all this significant detail as far as dealing with all this multi layers as far as that goes. So, when I'm playing around with stuff, when I'm thinking about these pictures, when I'm looking at this picture like this, I know what's going to happen. I know that eventually I'm going to, I got the composition. I feel like I got it. I'm very happy with it. It works really well for me. The eye sticks around toward the center, kind of drifts around. It makes for a nice little landscape. It's something that, you can easily blow up to like, 20 by 30 or something like that, put it on a metal print. And I just figured that would be kind of cool to kind of see, So I'm thinking about this when I'm shooting stuff like that. Some people get hung up on the settings, and the settings are important to a point, but the settings don't necessarily tell you everything as far as what the photographer's thinking behind this stuff. And to me, that's more important. Now, again, I've heard other people, say, poo-poo on that because the settings are what guide you to those things, but not really. So you can see right here, I shot this at an f2.8. So f2.8 is not the sharpest focal length, no matter how you do this. Around f8, f5.6 is, depending on the lenses and stuff, are really sharp. But why am I shooting f2.8? I'm focusing out to infinity. So if I'm doing that, I should have a fairly decent hyperfocal. Even at 2.8, at that distance, at 200 millimeters, I have a wide enough focal length to work with. I like 2.8 because 2.8 will help me get this in right here. I'm shooting this at 100 ISO. That's what I'm doing. And in order for me to hold it steady and keep the light down a little bit so I don't burn out this background right here, I'm shooting at about 1,000th of a second. So the idea is, this is what I'm doing when I'm thinking about this stuff. I could have gotten sharper, sure. but no one's ever going to really pay that close attention. No one that enjoys looking at the print. So the idea is when you're doing stuff like that, that's the kind of thing that I'm thinking about. It's not, I'm going to get the best, sharpest picture in the world. Sharpness only matters to very few people. You might think, oh, I'm one of those folks, and that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with pictures being extremely sharp. That detail is really cool. In fact, there's some really great photographers who excel at creating super extremely sharp images. But that doesn't mean that's always going to be the case with every image you see. Sometimes even the softest images yield more emotional results, I think, overall. So it just depends on what your overall take is and what you're going to do with it. So anyway, so I went back in there and I went, and like I said, I multiplied it up a little bit. I ran this through a couple of pieces of software. I ran it through, of course, through Lightroom. And then what I did was I ran it through, at this time, Luminar 3. And then I ran it, no, sorry, not Luminar 3, HDR. And this was Luminar 3 for this one right here. So the idea is I'm kind of funking it up a little bit. That's where I got the little sun flare. Luminar 4 and Luminar 3 with that little sunbeam. Oh, que bella. It just really worked out really well. One last thing I wanted to tell you about landscapes and stuff like that. Just kind of walk you through some of these little things real quickly here. So let me get over to here. Let's see, where is she at? There's this one, and then there's, no, it wasn't that one. Sorry, I thought I had it queued up. Oop, that's right, because I'm not in the right selection. Sorry, give me one sec. Let's look at this. So do you ever hum and talk to your computer too? There we go. That's the ones I was looking for. All right, let's go back to this. All right, so kind of give you an idea of how this kind of worked out. Let me close this so you don't see that, and we don't need to see that. So the idea is, if you're looking at this particular picture right here is a fairly sharp picture, as far as dealing with the water and stuff like that. This was actually shot with an Olympus camera on this one, if I remember correctly. Let me double check real quick. Metadata. No, this was my Nikon, excuse me. Sorry, my Nikon camera. So the idea is I shot this one with my Nikon camera. And you can see right here, the detail, it did pretty good job. It's doing all that stuff. In fact, if you look at the shutter speed, it's at 12/50th of a second. 1,250th of the second. It's ISO 1600. So again, pretty nice and clean. It's at 70 millimeters, yada, yada, yada. But the problem is I didn't have a neutral density filter or something to help me slow down the light. So I had to do the next best thing is I had to change the settings so I get this nice little Gossamer effect. This is still sharp throughout the whole entire image. The only thing is now the water has gotten softer. And what I did was I just changed the shutter speed down to 1 second on this particular one. Now, the idea is, how do I keep everything sharp? Well, basically I had to keep the camera stable, like on a tripod or something like that. So I kept it on I think I was bouncing this on a rail, I think actually. Bouncing on the rail. So I kept the camera and it stayed on the rail. And since I didn't have a remote switch, I used my self-timer. When the self-timer went off, it gave me a nice little break before the camera could steady itself and then get the shot right here. Some of the stuff that's on here is just really cool. You get this nice sharp moss-covered rock, and then, of course, you got the water coming up over that, too. So it worked out really well. Some people have commented I should probably get rid of these branches, but I don't know. I think they work out pretty well. It helps break up the composition a little bit. If you notice right here, when I'm looking at the composition right here, when I'm framing it, I'm using the banks of the river and these trees to help you frame it all in here, so you get this nice little wandering down throughout the whole entire thing. So it looks like it's just coming out of the whole kit and caboodle here. So by changing the shutter speed at 1 second, worked out pretty well for this thing. I could have gone, and I couldn't get any lower with this particular one, because then it would have been, kind of too dark at that, or too bright, washing out. I tried to do it, I think, on other settings. You can see it kind of washed out a little bit. So I wasn't too happy with the results of that. So this worked out to me to be the best result without using a neutral density filter. Now, keep in mind, I'm under an undercast sky, so there's already less light coming through there anyway. So it's not a super bright day. Now, if I had used a neutral density filter, I could have gone a little bit longer, maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds, on the shutter speed. Depending, or if I had my remote trigger and I had a neutral density filter, I could have gone even longer still. You get like this really pure water going effect going. But you got to work with what you got. You can't just jump in there and hope and just go, I can't shoot it because I don't have all the stuff. Just try it out and see what happens. Playing around with the shutter speeds it's a lot of fun. You can get some really interesting results because of it. So again, between the two shots, they're pretty identical as far as that goes, but you can see just by switching back between the two of them, it's just night and day between the way the water, just how it works there. It's one of those. I was very happy being able to accomplish this particular photo in that particular regard. Anyway, so that's basically what I'm saying is with some of the tips and stuff that I was talking about today is that regardless of whatever way you try to do it, however, whatever lens you got, whatever quality of gear, like for me, I'm doing this stuff on this YouTube channel. I'm doing all this other stuff. And, because ostensibly I had to start off just doing this stuff because, I needed something to do while I was furloughed and I'm ostensibly trying to get stuff going. How many more times can I say the word ostensibly? Am I saying the correct word? I don't know. So doesn't matter. I don't know. So the idea is, you just got to get out there and you got to try this stuff. You can't just let it all just happen and take over for you. You just got to get out there and do it. It's like these photos, I go out there and I bring my son with me whenever I can out to take these photos, and I share them with him all the time. And it's part of the thing that gives me the joy to go out there and create these things, because he's the one I'm shooting for. He's the one that makes it worthwhile for me these days. I mean, yeah, I got other people in my life, yeah, dude. But for me, I'm hoping I'm leaving him a little bit of a legacy behind here, so he can say these things, and hopefully enjoy them. Maybe hopefully pass them down to his kids. So stuff like that. So the idea, get out there and try this stuff. You got to get out there and get yourself motivated. You got to get out there and try some different things. Get out of the box of what you're shooting in. Try to shoot like with slower shutter speeds, with different aperture settings. If you don't have a camera that allows you, well, what can you do with that camera? Try to find experiments and stuff like that. And that's what the photo walks are all about too. There's no rhyme or for any. You can create really great photos with phones, with point and shoot cameras, with any type of camera. And that's the thing about the photo walk stuff. It's not limited to any particular camera. It's just to get you out there, get you shooting, and trying different things, and seeing what kind of results you can get as far as that goes. So yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed some of the stuff, and I hope you guys, stop by and check out some of my, like my website. Stop by and check out the Patreon page. Again, I've just started this stuff, so I'm building it up as I go along. Like I said, I'm back to work now. So like I said, yay, this was very exciting for me. So I was very happy with that. Again, thank you all very much for everything. I really appreciate it. And like I said, if you want to, you can subscribe to my Patreon account, and I'll be doing these little postcards. I'm setting them up that way too. So yeah. If you guys are interested in some of my artwork, let me know. The artwork that not the photo work, but the artwork that I've created before. I'll post some of that stuff. It's on my Facebook page. You guys can always tool around, take a look at it. It's more like a collage and assemblage kind of stuff. And I've done some collaborations with a few folks over the years, and some of that stuff is on there as well too. But yeah, thank you all very much, and hope everybody's going to have a great weekend. And stay safe and be well, guys. Thanks a lot.